a friend who used to say that, and I was like, I will speak my English. Speak your English. So my English at that time was you only. So I was like, you only know English, right?
Right.
I know Swahili, so that's my English. That's my first language. So I'm gonna speak it to you.
Right.
If you keep on telling me to repeat myself every time, and I'm saying the same thing that I'm saying in English, if you don't understand, I'm gonna give it to you in Swahili.
There we go. Mental illness, but the pressure mentally is really a real thing. And if you're not careful and if you don't have a positive or a healthy outlet, it can really ruin you. Because if you don't have, and I tell people,
you said you cannot pour from empty cup. But we got issues with black text. And we got issues with black text and firstborns, in as much as you want to what's the best word to use? Tap out. Are you able to tap out?
You just have to.
No, but
you're not able to.
That's what I'm talking about though. Like you want to, but are you able to?
Yeah.
How's loneliness in the United States?
Oh Lord.
I feel bad talking about this.
Well, wow. This
challenge with language barrier and people are scared of speaking.
You're just gonna have to go slow. I mean,
I think that's the part that I hated most.
The language.
No, knowing you have to ask, knowing you need help, but at the same time you have issues with communication. What's up, everybody? Welcome back again to Bridging Cultures. We have another episode. Today I got an intriguing guest over here. She's going to be talking a lot about the challenges she's going through in the United States. And if somebody's trying to come over here and they face some type of challenge, we spoke about, if you're watching, that is, and how to overcome it. So with all that being said, I'm the host, Bright. Today I have a guest. She's going to introduce herself, and we're going to pick it up from there.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Hi, everybody. My name is Rahab, and I cannot wait to have a conversation and talk about, life in the States.
Okay. So before we jump into all this, let us know, how long have you been in the United States for?
So I came in 2008, and I've been here for the last, going on to 15 years. And I came as a student, so that's how long I've been here.
Oh, that's nice. I did the same thing. I came as a student too.
Oh, awesome.
But this conversation we're going to be having today, I don't know if I went through the same things, but we're going to see.
Well, we're going to see.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell us about your employment challenges that you faced over here.
So biggest challenge, especially for employment. So first of all, you're in a brand new country. And before I came here, I came here from high school. So I really had not worked per se. In Kenya, I would help my mom around her business, but coming here, then it makes you grow up so fast, and then you have to figure out the system. So for me, I came and went into the health field and trying to figure out the health system. That was a challenge for me, but I believe the biggest challenge also was transportation, and I think that's not talked about a lot, because when I came here, driving is different from what we do at home, and growing up I really didn't drive. And then in America, literally having a car is not a luxury, it's more of a necessity.
Definitely.
So I had to do a lot of walking for a little bit. So that was a challenge. But then also language also was a challenge for me. Communicating.
At school or at work?
At work. Actually both. Because, we understand English. We learn it growing up, but we don't really speak it on a daily basis.
And that's the one thing that I came to learn about. I think we learn it from kindergarten, growing up and everything, but we don't use it on a daily basis. So we mix up Swahili, English, and all that, and it's normal for us.
Right.
But when you come over here, you have to speak it every day. Now, there's points whereby I confuse myself. I find myself throwing Swahili words
Oh,
without knowing.
Yeah.
Then consciously, I'm like, oh,
I should
mistake. They don't understand Swahili, so I have to go back again to English.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah.
what? Yeah. So I think the biggest challenge for me was the language too. But the more what really helped me even overcome those challenges was I worked in at a job where it was more than myself as far as people from my country.
Mhm.
So I think we supported each other and gave each other like encouragement in that manner. But also speaking yourself up. If you don't understand, ask someone, hey, can you repeat that? Which is not always easy to ask.
Honestly, yeah, I don't think it's easy to ask. Or if somebody tells you to repeat yourself every time, it's so frustrating.
It is.
It is so frustrating.
Yeah.
And I've seen people lose their temper. I think I've lost my temper almost twice, but I didn't say nothing bad though.
Oh.
It's the point where I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say? I'm speaking English. I don't know what you want me to say next.
Yeah, like I've been saying this over and over again.
Yeah.
But then did you find it like maybe going slower helped? Like maybe.
I think that's the one challenge that I have right now. I'm told I speak too fast, but I don't know. Sometimes it gets to a point where if I speak, I'm just going too fast.
Right. Yeah.
And somebody might not hear what I'm saying because the pronunciation is different. Yeah. For sure.
It is.
And speaking of somebody telling you to repeat yourself.
Yeah.
I have a friend who used to say that, and I was like, I will speak my English. Speak your English. So my English at that time was you only. So I was like, you only know English, right?
Right.
I know Swahili, so that's my English. That's my first language. So I'm gonna speak it to you.
Right.
If you keep on telling me to repeat myself every time, and I'm saying the same thing that I'm saying in English, if you don't understand, I'm gonna give it to you in Swahili.
There we go. Because I think I've said it not in that way, but I've said to people like, hey, English is not my first language, so you're gonna have to cut me some slack.
Oh, I never thought like that.
Oh yeah, I
for me, when I get frustrated, or when I got back then, right now, I have that problem. But back then, if I got frustrated, I'll be like, speak your English, I'm gonna speak mine, and you're not gonna tell me to repeat again.
Yeah. Those are facts.
Yeah. But I think it just comes from a point of frustration. It's not like they have control over that.
Right.
But at the same time, when you go back home, you gotta sit down and be like, what's my best way to speak it out? How can they understand?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So speaking of the employment part, like, was it easy to get a job, or how was it?
I wouldn't say easy. Honestly, a lot of, and I've learned this even being here this long, there's a lot of referral, and we're a community that does that. So if I'm doing something and that something works for me, I'm going to tell the next person, and the next person is going to tell. So it's more of a word of mouth. It was difficult or challenging in the aspect of, like I say, you really don't know the system around here. This is a whole different environment, culture, country. And we always tend to gravitate towards our community or people that come from your country to help you navigate that area. So you quickly learn to make friends. And I think when I came to school, there was the Kenyan community students where they would always encourage you, hey, if you want to find a job, call this person, or I can, tell you where I work. And most of the time we would end up being 10 or more Kenyans working in the same facility, because I'm going to tell you, then I'll tell the next person, and the next person is going to tell the next person. So that, it was challenging in the manner of, you don't know where to go look for a job, but I believe word of mouth and being able to have that feedback from people that are from your country help.
Oh wow, that's nice. That's nice. You spoke about having met people from your country. What would you say to somebody who hasn't traveled yet and is thinking, either they already got their visa, green card, whatever it is, and they don't know nobody over here?
Right.
What's their first thing they should do if they get over it?
That's a great question. So first of all, I want to encourage them to know that they are doing something brave. And I always tell anybody, when you travel, you learn a lot. Because first of all, you get to immerse in a culture that you were not aware of. It opens up your mind. But the one thing I would tell them if they're traveling here for the first time and they don't have family, they don't know anybody. Let's say, for example, if you're coming as a student, reach out to the school that you're going to. They usually have a program meant for international students.
Yeah.
I was fortunate in that manner because I did not have any family, but I coordinated between the international community with the school and myself. That way, when I arrived here, I had someone waiting for me and transported me to school. Okay. So that I believe every school, if you're coming as a student, every school has that. Now, let's say you're not coming as a student and you're just visiting. Most of the time, if you're visiting, probably you've been invited by a friend or family. Yeah. And I think that's easier to settle down if you know somebody or have family.
Because it's easy for them to come pick you up and all that. But if you don't have that part in the United States or whichever country you're gonna go to, either UK, you have to figure out either Uber or use public transport.
And
that's a challenge too, because I think with the public transport, it depends. I think it depends on the state, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I used public transport in Pennsylvania, I had to buy a monthly pass. So you gotta go to the station, buy a monthly pass, and use it. Like there's unlimited rides. You paid like $40 for unlimited rides. But the only thing that I'll say, that thing is, it's convenient at the moment. I'd say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think also, if you know where you're going, let's say, for example, if you're going to the UK or coming to the States and you know what state you're going to, I encourage people to read about the state or familiarize yourself with the state. Like just Google is everywhere and it's accessible to everybody. I'm not saying you're going to get all the answers and know everything, but I think that will give you a start of like, what do I need to know about transportation? Then if you're coming to school or work, then how far, or if you're coming for work, how far is work from where you're living? Yeah. And if that's the case, what are the means of transportation from point A to B? Yeah. Like just honestly, just look into it. And I think that will start giving you a little bit of answers. It will give you everything. And I feel like experience is the best teacher, to be honest. You're gonna learn this.
True. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So how would you say the economic pressure has been a challenge to you? If you see the difference as you was in Kenya and being here, how's it been? Do you think the pressure is more here or was it
more in Kenya? Well, honestly, I can say over here is more. And I think the reason why over here is more is, like I said, I came here very young. I was a student. Back at home, I lived in my mom's. I didn't have bills to pay.
True. I think I've spoken about that with somebody.
Yeah.
It's easy when you're living with your parents.
Absolutely.
And as much as you go out there, look for money and whatever, and you don't have nothing to come back home with, like let's say food or something. Yeah. Your mom is still there. But in the United States, you don't have mom or dad.
It's you, yourself, and you.
Yeah. You don't have mom and dad. Yeah. Yeah. But for those who have parents, you're so lucky, honestly.
Absolutely. And I tell my friends all the time, if you hear and you have parents, because I've met people who are here, well, maybe the whole family came with a visa and they get the luxury of living with their parents. And for example, in my case, my mom is not here, my family is not here. Yeah. So I had to figure it out on myself. So I think in that manner, the economic pressure I felt it more versus somebody who has mom and dad. Because I had friends who had mom and dad and all they had to worry about is going to school because they don't have bills to pay. Mom and dad is taking care of the bills.
So would you say the expectation of reality and what you thought is different?
Absolutely. Very different. Okay. Very different.
Okay. How different was it? Was it more expensive?
Well, life here is it's expensive, and I think the misconception that we have, and don't get me wrong, this land or this country has opportunity. They're there. Yeah. It's just you have to put in work. And I think not having that experience prior, like I had never paid rent before I came here. I had not paid a water bill, electric bill, or whatnot. I had never had a bank account. So I'm coming to a new country and I'm just being immersed into adulthood, like instantly.
You have to start from ground zero as an adult.
There you go. So I feel like the economic pressure or feeling that pressure was more for me in that manner where I didn't have support from like my mom or family. But I would say, this is what I tell everybody that comes. You're going, as long as you're not lazy, you will always find work here. The problem is you have to understand the system, and then that comes with, experience, because there are certain things that you cannot do, and if you do those things, you're gonna get behind.
Yeah.
But the beauty part of this country is you're always going to be able to find work or employment opportunity, which is not something I can speak of from our country. Now, it's your hard work, diligence, and also I tell people it depends with who you surround yourself, because I tell people, if I want to know who you are, I'll look at
I'll see your friends.
Then it will tell me the kind of person. And we get carried away because, we're coming so young. Our brain doesn't develop until you're 25, so there's the influence from outside. So if you get around folks that are just into partying and drinking, not saying that that's a bad thing at that age, because that's what we do when we're young.
Everybody goes through that stage for sure.
But then you have to stay focused and remember, why am I here?
Yeah.
And not just go with the crowd. So I felt the economic pressure just because I had not done adulting, which was what they call adulting, before here. So it was quite a learning curve.
Okay. It's a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
So what would you say, what's the mental health stigma that's as a challenge that you go through, having spoken about economic pressure? Do you go through mental issues? Do you stress a lot? When you're trying to figure things out, how is it? How's the pressure? How's the mental stigma?
So I love even the fact that we are bringing that into awareness, because mental pressure or mental illness is a real thing. Growing up, that was not a thing in our culture. It's like, I remember even growing up, there was a crazy guy, homeless guy. Now that I think about it, that's what he was. He would just kind of loiter around the estate, and we would always say, it's witchcraft and what, you know what I mean?
No, I don't. You have to elucidate on that. So for me, having seen somebody, I would say, how do you put it? Homeless person. But they're different though. You got different homeless people though.
Yeah, but this one was acting
so
crazy. His behavior was not like there's a homeless person.
Would you say he had mental issues?
Yes. And it was not treated, or it was undiagnosed, because you can tell.
Being homeless, he cannot be treated, so I understand. Yeah.
True. But you can see his mannerism were not like a normal person, because you can be a homeless person, but you're like, I don't like using normal, but your behavior is like acceptable within society norms. But this gentleman would do
crazy
strange stuff.
Yeah.
So, but then coming here, I think the mental awareness for me came in when I realized, like we talked about economic pressure and like day-to-day life, work. You get to a point where you're so not frustrated. Sometimes there is that frustration.
There is, yeah.
And literally, here is work, home. And I think that's one thing I took for granted, even being home. There's very little social life when you're trying to hustle and get to a certain point. And for me, that was the case, because I was so laser focused, like, this is where I want to be, this is what I gotta do. So it was always either if I'm not at school, I'm at work. If I'm not at work, I'm at school. And then what are the outlets when you have frustration, when you're upset, or when you're struggling, or stuff like that? If you don't have people that understand what you're going through, for example, if you have friends that have their parents, they cannot
For
relate.
them, it's different.
Yes.
For them, I think when the pressure builds up, they just go home.
There you go. And then they have somebody to talk to, and then
Yeah.
your mommy's probably going to tell you, no, it's going to be okay, we got this, whatever.
Yeah.
So that to me became something that I became very aware of. And then I started looking for outlets. So I don't like saying mental illness, but the pressure mentally is really a real thing. And if you're not careful and if you don't have a positive or a healthy outlet, it can really ruin you. Because if you don't have, and I tell people, as human beings, we're communal. We're meant to live together. If you don't have somebody that you can talk to at the end of the day, or even vent, they don't have to give you advice. They don't have to tell you what to do.
But as long as you speak it up, it's much better.
And then sometimes there's that fear of being judged.
It happens a lot. It happens a lot. Because a lot of people are so scared of being judged. And that's why you'll find somebody not speaking it up. Or they feel like if I tell you this, now you're going. Probably, I think most people think about it like this. If I tell you my weakest moments, you're going to use it in your proud moments. So when you want to tear me down, that's what you use.
There you go.
And at that point, you don't have no defense mechanism because I came to you when I was weak.
Yeah. I came at you vulnerable, really, and you turning around. And that's why I say be wise when you even choose your friends and who to vent to or who to be vulnerable with, because not everybody's going to hold that capacity for you. Or even if they do, are they being genuine? And then later on, are they going to use it against you or whatever?
Yeah.
But I would encourage it. That should not be something to discourage, because there are people who are genuine.
Who are willing to listen to you and they'll let you come vent it out, speak yourself out. I think, for the most people, most people do that. It's most people who've gone through it.
Yeah.
And now they understand it better. They're like, I don't have the authority or I'm not in no position to judge them of what they're going through or how they feel.
Right. Yeah.
But I understand that because I've gone through that.
Absolutely. And I always tell people now, let's say you don't have a person to vent to, find something that gives you peace. It could be as simple as maybe listening to music, certain kind of music, maybe meditation, maybe running, working out, but for me, it's just being outside.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not easy with the crazy weather that we have around here. But I love being outdoor, whether it's walking, running, or just grab a book and go to the park and read. Just find something that brings you joy, peace, and you're able to identify. Like, if you're going through that mental challenge, strain, feeling overwhelmed, just pause, stop, take a deep breath, take a step back, take a minute.
Okay. Speaking of mental stigma and mental health, at any point in time, were you ever depressed?
Oh, Lord. I don't like putting labels, but it was not medically.
It truly,
but I think
there's medical, there's one, like I'm in depression right now.
I would say I've had moments of being down.
Yeah.
Really, really down to a point where, and I notice it because how I notice it is, when I'm not at work and you don't feel like doing anything, you kind of sleep all day, you don't want to do anything, let's say, for example, I was supposed to do a certain chore, I don't do the chore, and all you want to do is sleep.
Yeah.
That's when I know I'm not okay. If I just feel like all I want to do is sleep, I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to talk to anybody. Certain points, I just even turn off my phone. I'm like, I really don't want to talk to anybody, and just get closed up and isolated. That's the word.
Isolate.
I isolate. I'm like, I don't want to deal with anything or anybody. Just me. Now, it can be a good thing and a bad thing, but I think that's what I'm saying. Being very aware of like what do those moments look for you, and because what it looks for me is different.
It's different for your experience is different for you.
Right. So being able to identify those moments and be like, okay, I think we're going through that thing. What do we do? And honestly, for me, it's just even we try taking a drive. I just get out of the house, take a drive, and go, and it makes me feel a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, how about the family expectations and pressure?
Ah.
from back home?
Wow. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Well, I mean, for me, asking these questions is like speaking to people who are back home, who got families and who got people over here. What is one thing they need to know?
First of all, I would say give your family members who are here grace. I think we have this misconception at home. And I don't want to say a misconception because I believe that this country has plenty of opportunities. If you play your cards right, you can be successful. Now, the challenge becomes from the point where you enter into this culture country to when learning is so different here, from the weather to the food to the language. It is literally, you get immersed in something that you've never experienced. So I think first thing I would tell people back at home is give your folks here grace, because we try, if I may, but there's unrealistic expectation, especially with people back home, and I think it's from the the notion of America is a land of milk and honey, which in some way it is, and I think they're not aware of what it is, like you say, ground zero, like being here. So I think what I would encourage people to do for people back at home is, like I say, grace, and then also communicate with your family here, like literally find out how they're doing. And I run into family members, all they do is ask. But I would also challenge people here is communicate. Be able, which is kind of hard, depending on the relationship you have, because there's expectation. Let's say, for example, my mom is back at home, and there's this expectation, like, you came to America, there's good opportunities, so now you should have money. And I can't ignore the fact that most of us don't have like a very open relationship given our culture growing up. Like you're not able to tell your mom or parents just about anything. But I think I would encourage us being here to communicate that. But also, one thing I tell myself is I'm not responsible, and this might come off selfish, and some people are probably gonna find it. I get it. But I always say, like, you owe it to yourself to make sure you're okay. Because if you're not okay, I always tell people you're pouring from an empty cup. You cannot do that. You cannot stretch yourself thin at the expense of your family back at home. And it might sound selfish to say, but it's not selfish, because if my cup is overflowing, I'm able to pour into you and to the next person. But if it's not, what am I going to pour? Nothing. Now, I would go back to saying, like, I think the way I overcame that, because my mom had the same challenge. And expectations. She would always think that things are going okay. Like, why are you not doing X, Y, and Z? If it's so bad there, then why don't you come back home? But I think communicating with her and really telling her what's going on helped her have some grace and understanding. But yeah, the pressure from back home is real.
So you said you cannot pour from empty cup. But we got issues with black tax. And we got issues with black tax and firstborns, in as much as you want to, what's the best word to use? Tap out. Are you able to tap out?
You just have to.
No, but
you're not able to.
That's what I'm talking about though. Like, you want to, but are you able to?
You're able to.
Do you think you are?
Let me tell you why you're able to. And that's a challenge. Now, I will say I'm not a firstborn, but I know the pressure that firstborn go through, because you have you, and maybe your siblings are looking up to you to kind of either give them a sense of direction or even support them in whatever their dreams are, or you feel that obligation. You're able to, in the manner of like So let me say this. Let's say I'm a firstborn, and I know that my desire is to help my siblings elevate in whatever aspect that is, right?
I think desire is a different word.
True. Hear me out. Desire is different.
Okay.
But here's what I'll say. I feel like I'm able to, in the manner of going back to what I said, I can't help you if I can't help me. How am I going to help you? They even say it on the planes. Put your mask first before you put it to the next person.
Yeah.
Now, in theory, it sounds easy. Practicality becomes, it's something that you have to do it continuously. And you can do it in love. And sometimes you have to, they say, you have to show tough love sometimes because it's like they might not understand or might even think that you're being mean or selfish or don't want to help them and whatever else they might think. But I think you have to be okay with telling yourself, like, I'm not being selfish because you know you're not that person.
Yeah.
You're just not in the position to help them right now. And I feel like people back at home have an advantage of, like, for example, my siblings, they have my parents or my mom back at home. There's that support there that I don't have here being here by myself. So in that manner, I think I'm able to release myself from that burden. Being here because this is new territory. Now, it's easier said than done, I'll tell you that. I've had moments where I said I was not going to do the thing, but do the thing. Because at the end of the day, I still love my siblings and my family, but yeah, go back to fill your cup first and then pour.
So yeah, I was going to say that you spoke about people back home being a little bit, should I say, on that contagious side. Shits don't work out.
Right.
So my question was, if shit hits the fan, forgive me for the word, if shit hits the fan,
yes,
somebody being over here and somebody being home, who do you think has a better chance of coming back up easy than the other?
Oh, that's a tough one. It depends. It depends. Honestly, it depends. I think either or are capable of, but I think now why I say it depends because if you're here by yourself, it's easier for you to pick yourself up by yourself. Just the fact that you're yourself, but then also think of the opportunity we have here as far as jobs and being able to get a job. That's not a luxury we have back at home. We have a lot of young people who are getting done with school and, not able to secure work. But then also look at it this way. They have a not fallback plan, but let's say, for example, there's a young person back at home that is going through it. And what I keep saying is that support, that community, that family, they have that. And that can help them get back up. Now, if you're here by yourself and you came here as a student, yes, you can dust yourself and get another job, but you don't have that support. And I think that support, that community support is a lot.
It's what's needed most.
Yes, it means a lot more than being able to just get up and go get another job.
Yeah.
So I think, to answer your question, I think someone back at home maybe has a better chance.
That's what I was thinking. Not
just,
monetary, yeah, but the support is there.
Yes, it is.
Somebody can tap your shoulder and be like, don't worry about it. That's how life is.
Yes, you got this.
Yeah. But over here, it's just pretty much over loneliness.
Oh my God.
We're going to speak about it.
You, yourself, and I.
Yeah. So, how about the pressure to succeed? How is it?
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one.
What are the sacrifices you have to make for you to succeed? That pressure, how hard does it hit you?
I think just in general, if you're a person, and I think everybody has this, there's the dream, the vision that you have for yourself and for your life. And I always say there's where you want to be and where you are, and there's the gut.
Yeah.
And the pressure comes in when you feel like, hey, I want to be at point B, but I'm at point A still, and I don't know how to do the in-between.
Yeah.
Now, being successful can be, and it looks different from you and what's
it's always different from one person to the other.
Right. So I think the pressure to me, I've noticed that comes from even being able to, like, not being able, like, comparing yourself from, like, if I compare myself to the next person, there's pressure there. And even now, so with social media, but also the expectation from back home, like, you're supposed to be at a certain point. Like, you know, everybody expects that when you come here, money's just falling off the sky. I don't know where, but or money's growing on trees, but I haven't found that tree yet. If you do find it, please let me know.
If you find it,
right. But, and it goes back to everybody's journey is unique and different. And I come back to that word of grace. And sometimes we tend to be hard on ourselves. And I think the hardness is like, there's the expectation you have for yourself, but then there's the expectation your family has for you.
Yeah.
And that can be overwhelming. But I always tell people, like, hey, take one day at a time and know that you're doing, as long as you're doing the thing that you say you're going to do, you're doing the best that you can. Just keep moving. Now, ignore the noises out here about success and stop comparing yourself. But again, easier said than hard, because easier said than done.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah, because even social media, like, you're seeing all these people posting about whatever they have going on in their life, and then you start comparing yourself. Like, maybe you see a friend who's doing a thing, and you're like, oh my God, I should be at a certain level.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but is that reality? Is that the true?
No, I don't think it's reality.
Right.
It's just how to put it. It's a portion of life people choose to show you. They don't show you the struggles that got them to that point.
I think more people should show struggles, don't you think?
We spoke about being judged. How much do you think people will feel judged if they do that?
Oh my gosh. A lot.
That's the judgment part. And actually being on social media is so hectic. Like,
it is.
Even if you're posting good stuff, you still have
oh my goodness
hitbacks. Like, you got people who are just on your bumper.
Yes.
They're saying bad things. So what if you show the struggles? How much bad things do you think people say?
I guess, well, and you know, there's those, we call them internet trolls, is what I call them. I feel like yeah, it's hard. But I feel like,
I think if you show your struggles, they will hit your soft spot more than your success.
now you gotta have tough skin for that. And a lot of people.
Listen, people put their success and they're being trolled.
Yeah.
So when you get the trolls, you can handle.
Yeah.
So what if you show your struggles? Remember, there's mental things you're going through. That struggle part, that's your weakest moments before you rose up.
Right.
So if you got trolls on your weakest point, how hard do you think it will hit?
I think it would hit hard, but I think it would also come back to why you showing us your struggle. What's the purpose?
Exactly. And that's why people are not showing the struggles.
But I feel like if my purpose for showing my struggle online is to help somebody else who's going through the same problem, I think I'll be okay handling whomever. Now, is it going to be easy to handle it? Maybe no, but I will have to, like I say, get tough skin, because if the reason why I'm showing my struggle is to, hey, if you're doing this thing and you're going through the same struggle, I just know this part is there, because I mean, life is absolutely
lives,
yeah. So if that's gonna help somebody get encouraged, and I think it comes down to, like, what's my purpose of sharing that weak moment? If it's to help somebody else overcome that weakness, I'll be okay with trolls. Yeah, bring it on, because I know I'm not here to
put that challenge out there. I'm willing to see it.
I'll take you over the challenge. I will.
Yeah. How's loneliness in the United States?
Oh, Lord.
I feel bad talking about this.
Well, wow. This place can get lonely, for sure. I remember growing up, even every time I visit home, it's such a what is this called? A breath of fresh air, because I think you can relate, like, there's more social life back at home than there is here.
It's a lot of social life.
There's a lot, and in a good way, because here, and I can give an example with my week. If I'm not at work, I'm at home, and a lot of people are going through this. Like, it's the circle of life, or the motions of life, where they're either working or dealing with kids or family or whatever else is going on. And I tell my friends or people that are close to me, you have to be intentional about creating time to hang out with people or to have a social life. Because if you're not intentional, you get into this rabbit or rat race of work, home, work, home, work, home, work, home.
Yeah.
And it gets lonely because, I mean, if I'm going to work for 12 hours from 7 to 7, when I come home, I'm tired. I don't have no
True.
bandwagon of being social. All I want to do is sleep and do it all over again.
Yeah.
But like I say, being intentional in the manner of like, hey, I have to create time for myself and to feel myself in that way, it can get pretty lonely. And then just imagine, what I'm having to go through, the next person is doing it. So we're not, they have their life, work life, family life, whatever else is going on in their life. And, so getting people together to have that social life. And I think that's one thing I've been trying to bring my friends together is like, we will intentionally plan activities to help us be social. So it gets lonely up in here.
Okay. How about immigration status? What's the stress in that? How stressful is it to get, how do I put it? The immigration status stress. How stressful is it for you to get, like, let's say, the benefits that, let's say, citizens get, like, job-wise, employment-wise, how would I put it? Things like that.
It's, the challenge is we're not afforded the same benefits. Let's say, for example, if you're not a citizen versus if you being a citizen. So in that way, that can be challenging because even like, let's say, for example, my experience, especially as a student is, and I think you've touched on this, is we don't pay the same.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I learned. I think later on, we pay double, twice as much. Yeah.
So there's that. There's the job opportunity. There's only so much you can do with your status. So there's challenges in that way because, like I said, there are rules and regulations to each country you go to, and I'm sure if anybody traveling from here to Kenya or other countries, there are rules and regulations that govern those countries. Yeah. So it's a challenge in that way, and not even so. And then not knowing the system, it goes back to that. Like, this is new. This is a new country. I don't know what I'm doing. What are we doing here? Yeah. So it becomes overwhelming in that manner because we're not afforded the same benefits as someone who was either born here or has a citizenship here. And having someone that you can reach out and I say let me talk to students because I think that was my experience. If you're coming here as a student, I think the best person or resource is going to be your international community.
Student advice
office. Ask questions. There's no question that is stupid. Please ask.
I like the way you say ask, but I think we spoke about it too. This challenge of language barrier, and people are scared of speaking.
You're just gonna have to go slow. I mean,
I think that's the part that I hated most.
The language.
No, knowing you have to ask, knowing you need help, but at the same time you have issues with communication.
True. Yeah. It can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or if
I'd say, if you have a challenge with that, look for, like we talked about, the community of people come from the same country. If you have somebody who can communicate better, let them know, hey, can you go with me?
Yes.
Let's go and ask for this, because I think I have a problem with communication. My language is just not that good.
Yeah. I'll tell people who are coming through, you have to be tough and not tough in them. Like, let's say, for example, home, you just went with emotion. When you come here, you gotta dust yourself up and just get into the thing. Like, you just have to be advocating for yourself because if you don't, nobody's gonna. And like you're saying, even if it means talking to somebody from your community, be like, hey, can you come with me? Because I have this problem, and they would even know a solution before you have to go to the person.
True.
But just speak up. Speak up.
Yeah.
Even with the language barrier.
I think that's the most challenging thing most people go through once they come over.
Right.
It is so hard to communicate.
It is.
And I think the same thing that we spoke about, being frustrated, being told to repeat, like you're like, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Because if you're not getting it,
And then you started from communicating.
Yeah.
True.
How did you face the challenges of adjusting to American time structure?
Oh Lord. Ooh, the weather. Let me tell you.
Hold on, did you come during the winter?
That's what
The
I was
summer,
about to tell you. Oh, the winter.
You came in the winter?
Smack in the middle of it.
Wow.
And let me tell you, I wasn't dressed for it at all.
You was dressed for the summer, huh?
Oh, in my little heels, a little sweater.
I think for me, it was vice versa.
When did you come here?
I came in the summer.
Oh.
Falling to the fall.
Oh, you came? That was perfect.
It was perfect.
It's nice.
But I came dressed for winter. It was sunny.
Well, they always say you'd rather be hot because you can.
No, it was not helpful.
But you can take off layers.
How do you this is the thing. This is the thing. I never liked putting on shorts.
Oh.
I never did.
Right.
Back home, it was all trousers.
Really?
Or pants.
Yeah.
American language.
I know.
Pants. Back home, it was all pants. When I came over here, when I got dressed the way I was dressed, coming over here, it was hot. And do you know how pants back home, they're thick?
Oh, they are.
They're not like, they're thick.
Yeah.
I'm sweating under there, but I can't do nothing about it.
Take it off.
How do you take it off?
People would probably run away from it.
And I came with that stigma of if you walk, like, you know how ladies over here, they can walk with bikinis, all that.
So yeah, dressing here. So that's another thing.
See, that's the thing. So I came with that stigma. I'm like, oh, that's naked. I cannot do that.
We're told to cover.
I cannot do that.
So, times. So first of all, times. And I think the biggest one for me to adjust to was the cold weather. I don't like being cold, and I dislike winter. So I came in January of 2008, and it was really cold. And I came through New York, so it was really, really cold and snowing. And then the other thing that was so surprising for me, and it was almost like unreal, was how the times when it comes to summer is still almost like daylight at 9 p.m. at night. And then come winter, 5 p.m. looks like 9 p.m. I was like, what is this? And then we have the falling back and fast forward or whatever they say, like we got a light save. Like, we don't have that stuff in Like, they're like, daylight saving. You gotta spring forward or fall back. I'm like, what is this? So that was challenging, and I think that my biggest challenge was the cold weather in the winter. Not only just physically, even driving in it. That's
driving in it. You spoken about it. I think I spoke to somebody else who came to the US roughly 4 months ago, roughly 5 months. Then they called me. We were speaking on the phone. Then I asked him, how have you faced the challenge of driving in the snow?
Ooh.
Do you know the funny thing he told me?
What?
It's cool. It's like, it's like he's imagining he's driving in the mud back home. I'm like, bro, this is not the mud. This is not the mud. In the mud, you can slide, but you can stop still.
True.
Once you slide over here, you're gone. Either something else stops you.
Yes, especially when there's the black ice.
Yeah. So when they said it, I was laughing. I was like, oh my God. But you cannot teach somebody that. They have to experience it.
You have to experience it.
Because he's the driver. You cannot drive for him to experience that.
That was tough.
I just laughed. I was like, oh my God. This is not the vibe. This is
different.
But the only thing that I told him, don't speed up. Just very slow.
Yeah. One thing I think I learned, somebody taught me, is like when you're driving in the snow, and I think that's what I even do now, is when you feel like you're like either skidding or like getting out of whatever you're driving in. The first instinct to do is push the brakes. No.
Don't ever do that.
I did not know that. So I would do that and they made it worse.
So I'm telling you this, but consciously I will do it.
So I stopped doing it and I would let off and I would let my leg off the gas, but now it makes sense because it kind of slows the car, but
I think when you put it on a standstill on brakes, it's easy to slide. But when it's still spinning, it can find traction at some points.
Yeah. So it's almost like grinding. I don't know, but that was tough. And I think,
But if you're spinning, even if you leave it, you're gone.
Oh, so the seasons here, the weather is different. I do enjoy fall and spring. I think it gives me a sense of being back at home. And
it's
then
more leafy.
Yeah. But then also when you visit different states, I think there are more states that are more, they have a similar weather to, like the warmer states feel more like home because we're used to warm weather. So that was different experiencing that because I've never experienced snow in my life. So
it's rough.
Yeah, it's rough, but it's also.
And I don't think you can stick somebody into that experience. They have to face it or phase it to experience.
And the funny thing, if I may, like being accustomed now to this cold weather, it is mad. I remember growing up, my mom was always like, "Don't drink cold drinks," and every time I go home, like it doesn't matter if it's the rainy season, I have to have like cold frozen water. And she's always looking at me like, "Are you trying to get sick?" I'm like, "I'm hot." She's like, "No, everybody's like bundled up," and I'm like, "In your head, the weather we
that
had,
ain't nothing, honestly.
Let me tell you."
But you saying that me going back home the other time, you know how we were used to back home, like in the sun, in the houses we don't have no thermostat or nothing.
Right.
So I went back home, man, I was sweating like crazy.
You're hot, there's no way to.
Sweating like crazy.
There's no AC.
I had a look. Thank God the Airbnb that I went to, they had a fan.
That was good. Yeah.
I was leaving the fan on all night.
It gets hot. And it doesn't matter what month you go, you might go to like.
I don't think it gets hot. I think we've gotten used to a different environment.
We have.
Back home is not that hot.
It's not.
It's just the thermostats are messing us up.
That
the car AC is messing us up.
It's the extremes.
Yeah, so you're used to it.
Cold, hot. It's just there's a lot of in between.
And I think one thing that surprised me in the US, there's people who do hibernations. Yeah.
Really?
I think it surprised me a lot.
Wait, people so they just kind of retrieve when it's winter and come out?
When it's winter, they leave. They go to these states that are sunny.
Oh, yeah. Oh, do you call that hibernation?
That's hibernation.
It is.
Because they don't want to be in the winter.
Facts. Let me tell you, we're getting there. We buy.
I was so surprised. I'm like, how do they hibernate?
Yeah, they move to the warmer states when it's cold. They come back.
It was so surprising for me. I'm like, you just approach yourself. That's almost 6 or 5 months.
Absolutely.
You're gone for 6 or 5 months, but you're still paying rent over here. I'm like, wow, that surprised me.
That's a good deal. I think I would love to do that. That would be a nice vacation from.
The hibernating.
Or you could
just
move to a warmer state. But yeah.
Wow. And the time that I was talking about too was how did you adjust to time, like getting things done in time?
Oh,
the lateness, is there tolerance?
Let me tell you, sir. I think being here has made me. Being late is a pet peeve for me right now.
I told you. I hate it. If somebody's late, I hate it.
But then also.
But the one thing that I'm proud of myself though is like if you tell me 2, it's 2. There's nothing like
in between. There's a learning that needs to happen for us, and I think that the over here it's you have to keep time. Let's say, for example, you have a job interview, even doctor's appointment. Let's even say that you miss your window, they will reschedule, and then you have to make other arrangements. So you learn quickly.
Yeah, it messes up with your schedule too.
Right. Because I mean, if the only day that I was available to do the thing was today, and then I missed my spot or slot, and then they tell me, "Hey, we can't take you because the next person is coming in. You have to reschedule." Now I'm looking at my schedule and like, "Oh my God, I don't have another day." So it teaches you quickly, like, "Hey, you have to be on time," and I think it's a good thing because not being on time really, it's rude.
I think
I feel like it's rude.
For us. I just forget so for us being over here, we came with that thing we were not used to it.
Yeah.
But having lived that life right now, if you have to go home and somebody does it, it frustrates you because now you're so used to having a routine or a schedule.
Yes.
I've squeezed you in this time.
Mm-hmm.
I got other things I gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come late, I'm jumping to the next thing. So now we gotta talk about next time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're at the same time.
And they're not gonna like it.
And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. And then also, I think when I've gone home, I've run into, and one of my girlfriends were talking about it, like
Mm-hmm.
customer service. You go to a restaurant and
Mm-hmm.
people are just, leisurely working.
Yeah.
That, or at the checking up in the supermarket or the grocery store, as we call them here. Mm-hmm. They're not in a rush. So
they're not.
Or the bank teller.
Oh, worse.
You're standing there for a good hot minute and you're like, what are we doing here? So I think, I'm glad I got to experience that idea of being on time, and because I think it's a self-respect for not you, but for the next person's time. Because time is a finite resource, so I don't like when people are late. Or when you plan something with friends or family and, we decide it's 2:00 and people show up at 3. It's like
I was ready for 2 and I'm done.
Yeah. Have you ever heard when people say, like, if you're trying to invite our community, because I think some people try and learn that habit, especially if you're an older age, it's a little bit tough.
It's tough, yeah.
So they always say, if you want something to happen at 2, tell them.
Either 12 or...
or 1 o'clock or whatever time, so that way they will be there too.
You saying that, I think there's somebody who posted, he was a family gathering.
Yeah.
I think they're so used to their uncle being too late.
So
they had a family gatherings. You know how they prepare themselves, everything. So they tell you to come at that point where they prepared food, it's all ready and everything.
Right. Yeah.
So they knew this event happens at 2. They told their uncle, come at, what time should I say? I'm trying to reverse it. How he's always late. They told him to come at 12. No, not 12. Yeah, it was 12.
So the event is like late.
So let's say the event is at 3.
Yeah. They'll tell him to come
They
early.
tell him to come at 12.
That way.
So they see
late.
So if he plays along the time, he comes. But the thing that they wanted to do was make him come earlier than it's supposed to start.
Oh, dude. Oh.
So he came in thinking it's late. So he came already apologizing from the door. He's like, I'm sorry. He got wine on the hands talking about, I'm sorry, man.
But nobody was there.
They were there.
Oh.
The event, no, not everybody, but not everybody invited, but the family was there.
Oh, okay.
So they told him, exactly, now you came the time that we needed you. Jump in the kitchen. He was pissed as hell.
Oh, so he tried to come late.
So he usually try to come late when everything is all done, people are tired.
So all I gotta come is come in and take a plate to go.
Take a plate to go or something. Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. But yeah, the time thing, I think you have to adjust to it too fast.
It messes up a lot of things, and you just have to. And I think it's a rude awakening. If you don't learn it quickly, it messes up a lot of your things, and eventually it clicks, and you're like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah, and in as much as it doesn't affect you, I think the guilt hits you. The guilt hits you when you go to somebody's house, like they promised you, or they told you, let's meet at 2. You come around 4.
Yeah.
They've already left. Then you get in the door, start knocking or ring the door, but they're like, hey, we waited for you, we got tired, now we something. I'm sorry.
And that's okay.
And that guilt hits them, so they have to learn first.
That's true. Yeah. But some people don't learn. But we're not going to talk about those people.
Well, tricky.
Yeah.
All right. What are the challenges of parenting differences here and back home?
Well, parenting in America. So the one thing I think we keep coming back to is how communal we are back at home. And literally, when they say it takes a village, it literally does. And it's such an amazing thing that you have your village back at home.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, if you came here by yourself, and let's say, for example, you had a family, getting your village, as I say, it's damn near impossible. It's very hard. And if you do have that village, and I keep doing this because you have to create your own village now here, and you have to do so by being completely intentional. Please cherish that, because parenting here is raising kids here is tough in the manner of like, I remember growing up in Kenya. I have two siblings. I'm the middle child, and my younger brother pretty much raised him. So it was me and my sister helping my mom, so my mom would go to work. But then remember, we're also able to get, you're able to hire somebody to help you. You can't do that here. One, it's very expensive. Number two is you don't have that village, especially if it's just you by yourself. So we end up having to, if you have kids and you have to go to work, you have to take your kids to daycare. And that's a tough. It's not easy. And being a mom, it's hard for you to take your kid to leave your kid in somebody's hands. But you have to do that. It's necessary for me to go to work. So I always say bringing up kids in our country is a luxury. I think we have it good, meaning you have support. And it comes back to having that support at home. And I think the question you asked earlier is, who do you think will be able to pick themselves up back? And I think back at home, you're able to, because that support is overwhelmingly there, which is a good thing. The other challenge with parenting here is it's very different in the manner of what are the norms, what's acceptable. I always touch on the idea of discipline and stuff like that. You just can't, like growing up, discipline for us looks different from what discipline is here.
That was like camp. Military.
I think we talked about that earlier.
That was a military camp.
Yeah. So over here, it's more, and I love it. I love the fact that I'm able to communicate with my children and be able to, because at the end of the day, they're little human beings. But there are moments when I put my foot down and say, hey,
this gotta be done.
This is what I say. Please, let's get it done. The other thing is like, life is expensive here. So, like I said, getting even the daycare, let's say, for example, that's the option that you have. The government doesn't kick in until kindergarten. So prior to that, if you're trying to get help with your children, you have to pay out of pocket. So that can be overwhelmingly challenging, especially if you don't have anybody to help you.
Okay. So what are some of the guilt and homesicknesses challenges?
Oh man. They say east west, home is always best.
True.
Guilt. Guilt is, I think for me, the biggest one is knowing my mom is growing older each and every day, and I'm not there.
And you don't bond as much as you want to.
And even for my kids, I would want them to be around their grandmother and grow around her, get to know her. They do get that chance. I try to do it very often every year, but sometimes it doesn't always pan out that way. So there's a guilt there. And I know my mom has expressed it, like, I want to see my grandkids. So there's guilt in that manner. And also my siblings are growing up, they're having their families of their own. The relationship between my kids and their kids is not as good. But thankfully, what is this called? Technology has helped them people. But it's not the same as in person.
It's not the same because
right.
With technology, you have to speak. You have to speak. But I think being in the moment physically, you don't have to speak. Activities.
Just being in the same, or just even being in the same space, even if you guys are just hanging out, eating or whatever.
Knowing somebody's okay and they're right next to you.
Right. And then health-wise, like I said, my mom is getting older, so I want to be able to help her if she gets to a point where she's not able to help herself. So there's that guilt. What was the other question? So.
No, it's fine. You already explained it. It's the same question anyway. You already explained it.
So there's that. Wow, then homesickness. Oh my God. Biggest one is food. Food here is different. Okay?
You miss the food back home.
Oh, let me tell you, ain't nothing like Kenya chicken or some good barbecue goat. Nyama choma, okay? I miss food. Food home is it's hard to find the same tasting food, and if you do, it's very nostalgic. Like it makes you want to go home.
It's rare too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I miss the food, honestly. I'm such a foodie. But I also miss the people, the community, being able to just like social life. It makes me miss being at home. We don't get that a lot here.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You spoke about community as you parent and all that. How is the lack of community support affecting the parental and everything?
It affects a lot. Okay. And
like knowing, like, let's say you can go to work and you know, hey, I can call my neighbor, be like, hey, go and check on the kids, and they come without having to have somebody go call the social
worker.
Yeah.
That's huge. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Without having somebody go and call social services on you. Having somebody who can check on your kids, they can cook for them without expectations. It's just, they know this is what we have to do as parents.
Man, that's very challenging because it's not. And I remember growing up that was normal.
It was normal. That's what I think. Yeah, I know. I think the reason why I'm saying that is because your parent will go to work and text the neighbor, be like, "Hey, I know you're home. Can you just check on my kid?"
Yeah, and they will definitely do that. Yeah. Over here, that is not something normal, and I think for the most part, it's like we have some. First of all, you can't trust everybody.
I mean, yeah, you can't trust everybody.
But also, like,
but I think that comes with us not coming from the same cultural grounds.
True. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, that's why.
But let's say, for example, even if we had the same people from the same country, let's say, for example, I had another Kenyan. But remember, they also have their own thing going on. They have to go to work. I have to go to work. Everybody has their own. I got my stuff.
That's what I'm saying. The lack of community, because they're not. How would I put it? Should I say involved?
Everybody's so focused in what's going on.
Everybody wants to build themselves first before they think of the outsource.
And rightfully so. So I think it literally goes back to being intentional. And I think I love here in this state, we do have a community in that manner. What I'll tell people to do, remember how I said it takes a village to raise kids? You have to create your village, and your village doesn't come by you just isolating yourself and being in your home.
You have to be intentional.
You have to be intentional. Get out there, get to meet people, get to know people. And also, my whole point is like, I solely believe in pouring into other people, because when you are running low, they will pour into you. It's like you're paying your way forward. I'm not saying help with the expectation of they're going to help you.
I was going to say that,
Yeah, but it builds that rapport, it builds that relationship. And I feel like when we pour into each other, we're able to show up for each other, because, I mean, if you're helping me, and for example, one way we encourage people to do is like when we have, if you live close to somebody who is from your same culture and whatnot, sometimes just offer to take their kids to work. Or let's say you're taking your kids to the park, be like, hey, I'm taking my boys to the park. Do you want me to come grab yours? And you don't even know what you did for them in that moment.
Yeah.
But you do have to be very intentional and just look out for the next person. It doesn't hurt at all. We all need each other, I say. Yeah. So build your own village. Because the village is not just going to magically appear. You have to put in work.
Yeah. All right. Our last question will be.
Okay.
How is the survival mode challenge? I think that pretty much sums everything we've spoken about. Mental health, parenting, lack of community, adjusting to time, immigration status, loneliness. How do you survive like the survival mode? Knowing like there's no other person, it's me, I have to do this and this and this. So how is the survival mode?
So, and honestly, you're right. Like, all of these things sum up into, we get into this space of, I have to survive because nobody's coming to save me. So it's very easy to fall into that pattern of, I just have to survive. Like, it comes back to the thing that I was saying, you have to find moments of where if you're just going in this survival. And it's so easy to get into this pattern of like, I gotta do the thing, I gotta do the thing, I gotta do the thing, I gotta do the thing. Just keep going and you just moving. And I think one thing that has helped me is sometimes literally you just have to stop. Like, and I don't know how to explain it better because sometimes I'm just like, nah, you can't keep going because you're gonna burn out.
It gets overwhelming.
It does. It's overwhelming. I mean, who wouldn't be overwhelmed? Like,
what's your out like?
How do I get out of that survival
other
mode?
than you saying you have to be intentional to other people?
Mm-hmm.
What's your other way of getting out of it?
Of the survival mode?
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be interesting to say. All right, this conception of and I think it comes. I always tell people, know yourself and just stay in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
We have a tendency when you come here of trying to keep up, and I've fallen prey of that, keeping up with the Joneses.
With who?
The Joneses.
Okay.
It's an expression. So what I mean by that is, like when I say stay in your lane, I know what I'm capable of, I know what I can do, and I know what I cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot look at the next person and compare myself and say, oh, they're doing the things, so I should be doing the things. No, because I don't know their situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you overwhelm yourself. That's how you get into that survival mode. So truly be self-aware of who you are, what you can handle, what you need and what you don't need.
Yeah.
Even if the next person is doing the thing, you don't have to do the thing if that's not your thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will take you out of that survival mode, because if you're not doing things that are out of your bandwidth,
mm-hmm.
you're able to manage whatever life throws at you.
Yeah.
I think that's another way I do other than being intentional. And then the other thing I do is ask for help. And I know this is so controversial. I know a lot of people don't do that because of so many reasons.
There's ego, there's big jobs.
There's so much, but
it's a lot.
I don't know what else to tell you, but just ask for help. It might not be easy, but you genuinely need. Nobody is an island. We can't survive life by ourselves, and it's okay. Tell yourself it's okay to ask for help. And I think if you have the right people around you, and this is why I tell people, be very mindful of who you surround yourself with. Because if you have the wrong friends or the wrong community around you, then it becomes trouble when you need your community. Yeah. So just try not to be in survival mode.
All right. We spoke a lot. There's a lot of things we spoke about, but it was good though. You've all seen the challenges we spoke about. If there's something we've missed, let us know. If there's something we need to talk about or elucidate, expand on and all that, or explain, let us know so we can do it too.
Yeah.
And finishing up, what's your advice for somebody who's traveling over or who wants to come over?
I'm glad you asked that. I would want to tell that person, please do come. There is, as much as we are highlighting the challenges, and I think what you're doing is remarkable because you're trying to create that awareness for not only people coming here, but people also at home.
Yeah.
I fully believe that being here is an amazing experience. It's an amazing learning experience, and you're not going to regret it. I would have wanted to encourage that person, like, you're going to be in the best learning space because there's a lot of things that you learn that you don't learn when you're in the comfort of your community.
Yeah.
It helps you grow. It helps you get that tough skin. There's great opportunities. Like we're saying, we're very brilliant people coming into this country. And hopefully in the future, our respective countries will get to a position where we're able to afford our youth that same luxury of, they go to school and are able to secure a job.
Yeah.
But this is the best place and experience. And honestly, despite the challenges I've gone through, I wouldn't do it any other way. And let me tell you, there is a possibility of making it here. You can.
Yeah.
You can make it here. So that person coming through, come through, we got you. There's community. We're trying to create community. So hopefully we're going to help them adjust and not have to experience what we had to go through. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. You've all heard that. We've spoke for a while. It was good information.
Yes.
Dissect it how you want to, pick up what you want to, take what you want to. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.